Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god, yes!
Put the barrage! Make sure they can't even follow up afterwards.
And Watch us down 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire.
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
3 wins the rival race.
Experience tranquility.
Coming off of a huge upset victory over the Devil Dukes, taking on Frost Fissure. Both 2-1 teams here, Beth. Both names that have been around Tranquility for a while, with the Permafrost org and the Foxden org as well. So these teams are not fresh faces to Tranquility in general. Beth, this should be an exciting one tonight.
It really should be. Like you said, both of these teams it's coming down to the wire for both of these teams. They're both fighting it out to see who's going to be B pool, who's going to be A pool. I mean, things could go horribly awry for one of these teams and they could end up in the elimination pool. It's like hard to say at this point. Every game matters, every map is on the line, and it should be a good fight today. I'm excited to watch it for sure.
We only got this week and next to enjoy Overwatch 1 before the big transition to Overwatch 2. So it's 6v6 action today with a little 2CP sprinkled in coming up on map 2, but it should be a lot of fun tonight. Now, taking a look again at these rosters while these teams are kind of getting in and getting going here. Again, we're going to Arctic Foxes. They do have one name that stands out, has been in Tranquility now for a few seasons, and that is Icy on DPS. Icy's been around now a couple different Fox org teams, and it's always been kind of one of those DPS kind of slipping under the radar, but definitely can hold their own.
Definitely. And I think Mira on Arctic Foxes as well has been around in the community. Very, again, understated player. Don't hear a lot of buzz around her, but she is a good, solid support player and is a big influence on that team as well.
Now, Frost Fissure comes in to this match here. This is their debut season in the Transcendence tier, and they are returning with the debut tonight of a player on their team that should be familiar to those in Tranquility who have at least been here, especially since Season 7. This is former Paradise Paradise Lost player, and that's the former All-Star Lars on DPS. So, Beth, a huge addition here for Frost Fissure.
Definitely. And Frost Fissure is, like you said, a new team to this community. They're looking to make a name for themselves. Adding an all-star DPS player to their roster can do nothing but help them at this point, especially as we're getting not only close to the end of the first stage, but also in talks for future MVP candidates and the like.
Exactly. Both these teams, again, looking to make a big statement here, moving into the second stage, into the game transition between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2. We're going to be heading first and foremost here. Our first map this week is Nepal. So we're going to get Nepal to start us off here for both these teams right now. And looks like we have a couple players still coming in here. But Beth, taking a look at predictions for this matchup, not a lot of people know what to make of these teams, but it looks like predictions right now, a lot of the community seems to be saying, you know what, we're getting on board with Foxden. Is that where you're about with this one, or are you not sure where to go yet?
Yeah, I think Fox Den is a pretty good pick here, honestly. The teams haven't played a bunch of the same people at this point, but if you look at Arctic Foxes, they did have that huge upset win over Devil Dukes last week with that 3-0 victory. Frost Fissure just the week before lost to them 4-0. So I think the odds being on Fox or Arctic Foxes at this point is a safe bet, but we'll see what happens. That's why we play the game. Any one of these teams could pull out a victory in the end.
Exactly. It's going to be an exciting one. We're heading off to Nepal first here. Nepal, fantastic map. You get the nice compositional variety as well. Tends to be a favorite for a lot in Control, and honestly one of my favorite points in all of the Control maps. You get that Nepal Sanctum. That map is a lot of fun. The environmental threats, you can kind of play a lot of different things on those maps. But it looks like first and foremost we are going to be heading here to, well, a cliffside currently. Thanks, Laggy, for the fantastic production. We certainly appreciate it. But we're heading off to Shrine for our first one here. But this tends to be six-man galore or ball composition galore, depending on the tier. I see Brawl. It looks like right now Frost Fissure is going to come out on that Brawl, and Arctic Foxes looks like they're going with the Ball Sigma comp.
Yeah, Brawl into Ball is definitely an interesting matchup. This point tends to be a lot pokier. I'm guessing Mirai is going to go back for a switch here to a Tracer. It really will just depend on which team plays their comp better. Both of these comps can work on this point, so it'll be cool to see which team is able to play their comp to its strengths and get the first capture off.
Frost Fissure already bunkering up on the point here, using the speed gained from that teleporter and Mira's speed on that Lucio as well. Mirai right now on the Tracer, looking for angles as ball composition, looking to set up those angles, try to enable the DPS to get some damage in and get Frost Fissure uncomfortable here. But Frost Fissure is going to take the first take while these angles continue to get set up. We see the ball roll in here. Swampy rolling through Frost Fissure is able to get out, but Lars is going to be taken down first here as Icy finds him on the Tracer. And it looks like this first fight is going to go to Frost Fissure.
Both teams played this so well, and they played to their strengths. Frost Fissure, with that bunker down on point, was just able to get the picks they needed to stabilize. But for a while there, it looked like Arctic Foxes were going to be at the advantage. They had the different angles. They were getting their poke damage in. But now as we're coming up into second point, we see that Frost Fissure is already pretty decently far ahead in the old game, coming up on that, or having that BAP window and coming up on the Shatter. So it'll be interesting to see what the Foxes decide to do get the retake on this point.
Arctic Foxes right now looking to take the high ground here. Expect to see that window come up pretty quick. Tuddy finds Icy though, taking down Icy early here. One big source of damage out now for Frost Fissure. Tuddy sitting on that high ground right now, lobbing some orbs into the fray. It looks like Mira finds Mirai. That it will not get complicated for your casters at all, just to forewarn you in advance. We see Relapse taken very low, and Icy already back in the fight here, trying to work on the Foxes, or trying to work on the trying to work on the Arctic Foxes here. It looks like we do have the nameplate switched on this one, so we'll get that corrected here in just a moment, I believe, guys. I do apologize for that. And again, looks like this is Frost Fissure actually taking this point.
All right, well, Frost Fissure now taking this point. Now I'm very, very confused, but it looks like, so Frost Fissure is the one that's been running the Cassidy ball comp. They have a ton of ultimates coming online here. It looks like Foxes are going to try to get the retake now that their bunker down Brawl has been upset here, but a lot of ults coming in, so.
Ult's coming in right now. Sound barrier in from Mira. She's able to mitigate some of the damage, or help keep Zephy up as Zephy gets Mirai with that with that Deadeye. A-Dog right now dropping the Gravitic Flux here as well. Seems going to be D-Mech as Frost Fissure looks to be in control at the moment here. Taken very low is Slick, but they're going to manage to stay up here. Correction, Lars finishes that one off here, and Mirai getting in there right now with those pulse pistols, doing a fantastic job dishing out the damage there, and that's going to be another fight win for Frost Fissure.
Yeah, Frost Fissure played that really cleanly. At first, I thought Foxes were going to have a little bit more of an advantage. They weren't really hit and choke. They were able to set up on point, but Frost Fissure played patient, and now they're reaching up on Fox's initial percentage. So kind of tie game as we come into this next fight. Frost Fissure has the trance up, which is going to be a huge ultimate to hold it, but Foxes could get a big bomb off here.
Foxes right now have an opportunity with 70% left, getting close to one fight territory right now. Foxes will push onto point. Frost Fissure giving some space here as they're trying to set up angles. Relapse gets it very deep and it's going to be taken down by Lars, as well as Tuddy there. too much damage for Relapse to be able to handle. Lars pops the Deadeye here, not able to find any targets, but gets the reload, and that's going to be enough with bullets in the chamber for Lars here on that Cassidy. That is going to finish off that fight here for Frost Fissure. 92%, Beth. Here we go.
Yeah, coming in, it'll be interesting to see whether Frost Fissure, Arctic Foxes are even able to get a touch off here. We do see Relapse going over to the ball. Overtime is coming in at this point, but Swampy does have the mines to help clear the point.
And those are 2 early kills there. Now 3, actually. Arctic Fox is falling quickly here as Frost Fissure is rounding up the kills in the feed. And that is going to be enough here. Frost Fissure in control will take point A here on Sanctum. For Frost Fissure, moving up to 1-0 on this match.
Yeah, and you really have to hand it to Frost Fissure. They were playing those last few fights absolutely beautifully. Arctic Foxes wanting to get up and do that close brawl, get the Rhine in there to do some damage. Frost Fissure just kited out of the fight. They made Arctic Foxes fight on their terms and were able to use their comp to their advantage and ultimately secure that point. But now coming into next point, we do see that Arctic Foxes are going over to a double shield comp, always a really popular choice on this map. Frost Fissure sticking with that ball comp, although this time they have... Actually, now I can't remember whether they had a Sigma on last point or not, but Frost Fissure looking like they're wanting to stick with that ball comp while Arctic Foxes are going to the double shield. I think this favors Frost Fissure a little bit, just because we've been able to see them play their angles really well. Double shield can be a little bit difficult if they kind of get all turned around, so we do see Mirai going from the Symmetra over to the Tracer here as they get set up for first fight.
Mirai setting up now. Lars and Mirai here. Fantastic looking last point. They have another opportunity here, but Zephy shooting some logs out of that bow there, finds Lars's head, sends them back to their spawn room. And that is just pretty much it. It looks like Frost Fissure is just relenting and letting this one happen. But Scene gets taken down. A quick flail from Retro is going to take them down, and that's going to set up an opportunity now. Arctic Fox is not going to be able to collapse on this point as quickly as they were hoping. We see Retro go down at the hands of Relapse here as Zephy, again, working on that Hanzo here, looking for more picks, finds Mirai, but the rest of the team is gone, and it's mostly at the hands of Lars from Frost Fissure, finding 3 killing blows in that fight. That's the first take for Frost Fissure.
Yeah, that was such a big opening pick by Zephy to pick off the Tracer, really take out a lot of the damage of Frost Fissure. But Frost Fissure, like you said, they backed up. They let Arctic Foxes get a little bit of establishment in, and that one really good whip shot by Mira allowed them to get that fight and ultimately cap the point first.
Here we go now again. Frost Fissure is set up in position here to handle the incoming attack here. Ball getting in behind with the slam, gets stunned out of that slam here, manages to limp away before they go down. Relapse taken very low, but it's going to be kept alive here as Scene leads forward with that suck there on the Sigma. And now, right now, slowly but surely, Arctic Fox is taking space away on that high ground area overlooking the point. A-Dog taken very low, running out of cooldowns to be able to use to stay alive here. Mirai coming in, looking for an opportunity to get on the backline here and find Icy, but Mirai is taken down by Icy there with a huge pickoff on that Tracer. Lars finds Relapse, though. Lars right now sitting on the Deadeye. You got to figure it's going to get in use right here, and there it goes. What time is it, folks? It's high noon, and that's unfortunate for Bob because that's curfew, it looks like. Mirror takes down Retro in a battle of the Brigidas, and that is going to be Frost Fissure right now. Still in control, but there's the take for Arctic Foxes.
Yeah, Arctic Foxes manages to get that tape, even though it kind of looked like the point was swinging in Frost Fissure's favor. Really got to hand it to Lars these last couple of points. He's been looking really strong on that DPS play, getting a lot of picks. But Arctic Foxes managed to hold it, and we'll see whether they're able to keep the point held.
Arctic Foxes have an opportunity here to try to claw back into this here. A-Dog very low, gets taken down, but Mirai finds Mira. Again, we're working on that one. We'll get there with those names. Relapse, though, takes down A-Dog right now, so this fight is still in anybody, or could be anybody's right now. Icy trying to get some shots in, has to retreat out, getting away from the damage of Frost Fissure. Swampy does find Scene, though. That's another one down here for Arctic Foxes. And Arctic Foxes still maintaining control on this point with Zephy finding the kill onto Swampy. And here comes the Gravitic Flux as well. A-Dog getting in here. Beth, this is kind of going on back and forth right now. There's no clear winner right now, but here comes the Amplification Matrix.
Yeah, both teams are kind of just continuing to poke at each other. They're using ultimates, they're backing off, they're pushing in, but the entire time, Arctic Foxes has been having the control of their point ticking up. So while Frost Fissure is getting set up here, hopefully, or looking to use the mines and the Deadeye likely in this fight, we see that Arctic Foxes are really doing a good job of holding the point down and using their comp to their advantage, using their point presence.
Dragon Strike forces a split for Frost Fissure here as they have to hold up on their positioning, on their engagement. We see the lift in play from Scene here, finds a couple with it, not able to get a whole lot done with it, but Swampy is going to find Icy with that one here as A-Dog takes down Mira as well, and it looks like Frost Fissure is finally going to be getting this one back as Mirai finds two. Mirai with the Pulse Bomb, not able to connect, but they take down another with the help of Lars. And that is 3 quick kills there for Mirai, and Frost Fissure now 67% and counting.
Yeah, and with 2/3 of the point gone, it looks like, or taking up for Frost Fissure, it looks like Arctic Foxes are only coming up on a Bob ultimate at this point, maybe a mid-fight Bongo. But that said, Frost Fissure does have the Deadeye of Lars up again. We've seen him use that very effectively so far. Teddy having that Transcendence will also help them stall out.
Here we go, Zeffy with the early kill onto Mirai again. Zeffy with another early pick. Arctic Foxes have an advantage going into this fight here. The Bob goes on to point here from Icy. It's Deadeye from Lars right now, and here comes the Transcendence as well from Tuddy, and the brawl is now on point here. Swampy rolls through. Scene goes off the map here for Arctic Foxes in what could be the very last fight of this map here for the Foxes. Zeffy takes down Retro, and Lars finds the bottom of the pit as well. Everybody deciding to take a visit down there today, it seems. Arctic Foxes now in control. That percentage slowly ticking up here. And Swampy is taken down. Late contest comes in now from Mirai. Mirai does use the rewind there to manage to get out. And here comes A-Dog with the lift, trying to get them up off the ground, but they're not going to be able to touch the point. And that's a solid map win for Arctic Foxes.
Yeah, Arctic Foxes looking really good there. Tough for Swampy. He wasn't able to get the credit for knocking the enemy Sigma off of the map. He was denied that ult charge, which could have given him the bombs a little bit earlier, which could have let Frost Fissure pull ahead on that. But overall, really great play by Arctic Foxes. I'm excited we're getting to go to a 0.3 here, and it looks like Frost Fissure again is going for that ball comp that they seem to favor, while Arctic Foxes is going back to the brawl comp that we saw them on the first map.
Arctic Foxes back on the brawl here. This is this fight has a lot of tendency to go with that brawl. Frost Fissure coming out, it looks like with the Pharah in play. No Mercy yet, but I have a feeling we're going to see one after the speed boost out here from Retro. And here comes the Pharah Mercy now in play. Retro switching over to the Mercy to support Lars in the sky. We're going to see a very different approach to this map from these two teams. Arctic Fox is going to get on that point early. Frost Fissure going to try to set up some angles and take this fight.
Certainly, and if you're Frost Fissure, you are okay with Arctic Foxes getting the first take on here. You thrive on slow, pokey fights. You need to get your damage again, get Lars his barrage up, and just see whether you can get the point flip back from them.
We see Diva D-Mech Scene taken out of the mech early there by Mirai and Lars here. Lars already very close to that barrage as well. So the slow pokey damage is having the effect they were hoping. Icy taken down here by A-Dog, and Lars just finds Zeffy as well. And that's a lot of quick kills for Frost Fissure as they take that fight handily.
Frost Fissure, again, played that absolutely perfectly. They didn't force point before they needed to. They didn't play to Arctic Fox's advantage. They let themselves really just build their ults, build their damage. We see Arctic Foxes, they switched off of the Reinhardt and back onto it from the looks of it. So unfortunately, Relapse lost a bunch of ult charge there, but it looks like they do have a Cassidy in play now to try to take care of the Pharah from Frost Fissure.
Relapse, definitely lost a ton of ult charge, but we see Lars now with that barrage trying to get into position here, watching them from above. They've got to be looking for that Diva. Diva does fly up to meet Lars here. Lars is going to be forced out, and Swampy in very deep as well. Look at all the different angles they're approaching from right now. Lars uses the barrage, not able to find any connections there. But that's a lot of poke damage starting to hit the Arctic Foxes here as they try to get to the point. Mirai finds a couple there. Pulse Bomb on the Scene is successful. A-Dog right now is sitting on this Gravitic Flux. Could use it here if they are a little bit crazy. I think that'd be a bad idea. And
I agree with you. I think it's a good thing that A-Dog didn't use it there. Yes. That said, really good retake by the Arctic Foxes. They scouted out the Pharah early, didn't let her get any value off of her barrage, and we see Frost Fissure now switching off of the Pharah. They're going over to a Brig and a Cassidy of their own as well. Might allow them to get a little bit brawlier on point here, maybe maintain some better point presence as we're coming into about halfway through the point for both teams.
Here goes Swampy right now, set up in position for the next engagement here. Again, setting up these angles and the opportunities to strike in. We see a huge biotic grenade in from Cuddy there, setting that one up as A-Dog takes down Zeffy. The Gravitic Flux now from A-Dog as well. Not going to connect with anything of consequence. But we see Icy is taken down by Lars here too. A-Dog right there, putting the rock to use there, finds another one as Mirai finishes off Relapse. Mirai finds another killing blow. And Mirai on this Tracer is an absolute menace right now for Frost Fissure as they take this point at 50%.
Yeah, Frost Fissure, again, looking really good, playing their game, playing patient. Lars and Mirai absolutely putting in work on the DPS duo here for them. Such an important component of this comp, and they're really showing how strong of a DPS duo they are. Coming into 2/3 of the way through the point, Zeffy does have his high noon up. No other ults coming in. It looks like they're setting up for another engage.
Zeffy comes in with the Deadeye here, speed boosted a little bit by Mira briefly. But nonetheless not able to find anything here. Wrecking Ball swinging through, taken very low is Swampy, but they are going to manage to escape out of that fight here. Relapse heading around here, looking for an opportunity to get his Earth Shatter into play. Going to be forced out there by A-Dog, coming down with a big Earth Shatter, finding a couple there, including the kill onto Retro from the Shatter itself. Relapse with some main take differential on that fight.
Yeah, and playing into a ball comp, it can be kind of hard to get shatter value on Ryan occasionally, but Zeffy's High Noon forced Frost Fissure back into a position where they were more stacked than they would normally want to be on this comp, allowing Relapse to get that good shatter off and allowing them to retake the point.
Frost Fissure setting up here for what very easily could be the last fight of this map here, with both teams tied at 1 point apiece, heading to try to claim Nepal here and start this match off 1-0. Arctic Foxes choosing to just go meet Frost Fissure. Frost Fissure looking to get out of there. They will manage to keep their team alive. A huge Gravitic Flux enables the team to finish them off here, and that is a big push there for the Frost Fissure. They barely get the touch though from Swampy, but it's going to be enough in just enough time, just the right time. And here we go, last fight now, last opportunity, and I don't even know if they have a touch in them.
Yeah, Relapse may have it. He died pretty early. He's back on the ball, it looks like, able to get that touch off, but I think it's probably just going to be a trickle fight at this point.
It is. Zeffy does find Lars, though. Lars going down pretty early here. Relapse taken down as well, but there's the bombs on the point. It's going to make it really hard for Zeffy to get back in, and Zeffy not able to evade those proximity mines there. We see the Lucio coming in. The trickle game is on, but the trickle is just not going to be enough here, and it looks like Frost Fissure is going to take Nepal here and get up 1-0.
Yeah, but that said, the fight is still ongoing at this point. Frost Fissure does have a lot of point presence, but there are some picks being traded back and forth here. No real ultimates coming up from either side, but you do see that Arctic Foxes aren't going down without a fight.
They absolutely are not. They've picked off a couple here and there, but it looks like the kills are finally going pretty firmly in the favor of Frost Fissure out of nowhere here with the final kill there. Arctic Fox is resilient as ever at the end, but Frost Fissure takes a nail biter on Nepal, moves up to 1-0 in this match.
Yeah, and Frost Fissure, again, just looking so good on this ball comp. We see Mirai, who we've mentioned a couple of times already, absolute menace on this Tracer, getting play of the game here. I will say Arctic Foxes, usually I would like that aggression on the brawl coming out towards last point. They had the time, they thought they could get the kills off, but Frost Fissure is just able to use their ultimates and get kills to perfection, allowing them to ultimately come back and win the point.
Absolutely. Frost Fissure, fantastic performance there. The DPS duo of Mirai and Lars looks fantastic so far here in this matchup. And we will see Arctic Foxes coming in now with that map selection. We're seeing a lot of different looks from both these teams. We've seen Arctic Foxes seems to be kind of favoring a little bit more of an aggressive brawl style. Frost Fissure sticking firmly with that Wrecking Ball. And at this level, and you're kind of mastering that Wrecking Ball composition, it can be really tough to beat.
It definitely can be. I mean, we are in the Transcendence tier, which is the highest tier that we have in the Tranquility community. But that said, like, if you have a player who's really good at Wrecking Ball and really good at getting that disruption off, like the main tank for Frost Fissure seems to be, it can be really hard to play against, especially if you're a more brawl-oriented team, which Arctic Foxes seems to be.
Absolutely. Arctic Fox is going to need to make some adjustments here heading into the next map. Not sure where we're headed quite yet, but we will find out soon. Again, it is the choice of the Foxes. Now, if they're trying to mitigate that ball style, you got to figure they'd probably be looking at a point more than likely like Temple of Anubis, more you would have to imagine here would end up being the pick.
I would guess so. I feel like the brawly sort of interior corridors of Temple of Anubis can definitely play in Arctic Fox's favor. The other two CP maps that are options are a little bit more open, which would maybe favor Frost Fissure. Even if they don't run the ball, they could be more coordinated on the dives or at least more practiced on it. So I would not be surprised if Arctic Foxes chooses Temple of Anubis here. That said, I have been proved wrong many times, so it'll be interesting to see what they decide to choose.
It's the force of habit here. We tend to find ourselves on the wrong side of these things on more often than perhaps we should be. Taking a look around Tranquility right now, just to update you on a few Transcendence tier scores that are starting to kind of pour through. We see Decapitators up on Culture 3-0 right now, finishing up the third map just a moment ago. Again, Amnesia as well. They are taking on Lijiang Legion tonight, and that one right now 2-0 in favor of Amnesia. So we are seeing a couple of scores roll through, and I do have another, cannot verify the source of this report, but I am hearing right now that Oath is up 1-0 on the Devil Dukes.
Ooh.
Again, don't take that. That could just be banter. So don't quote me on that, but it does seem like we have some interesting results already starting to come through here in this Transcendence Tier Wednesday. And I mean, hey, we've had a lot of excitement so far this week already. We've seen upsets in every single tier. In the EU, we saw Dino Nuggies drop to Aesir, and Aesir hadn't won a match yet this season outside of forfeits. And Dino Nuggies looked borderline unbeatable so far this season.
Yeah, definitely a lot of upsets coming in, and considering earlier I think I was saying I was going to bet on the Arctic Foxes, you can almost say that Frost Fissure taking the first map with such grace and style is kind of an upset for me. That said, it does look like the Arctic Foxes have chosen to go to Hanamura. Now, Hanamura point A and B can be good for a brawl on the attack, but we do see several teams like to run like either a double shield or a sort of divey defense, so it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do here.
Here we go, on to Hanamura here. Definitely some different approaches you would have to imagine. Frost Fissure, they're just staying on the ball. They're just gonna work that ball, and you got it. Swampy on the Wrecking Ball looked very good last match. A-Dog definitely shined a lot on that. Segment at times, but I gotta say it definitely enables Lars and Mirai to really showcase their skill and pop off, and they did a fantastic job last match. Arctic Foxes, though, they are coming out and they're just ready to throw hands. It looks like here, Beth.
Yep, again, they're going to what they look the most comfortable on, which is this really strong brawl style. Just classic Trank attack Hanamura A of the Sim TP to point. So it'll be interesting to see. Frost Fissure is going to want to hit them in rotation, really get that poke damage in, not let them go where they want to go. So we'll see whether they're able to pull it off here.
Tough spot, no question about it here for Frost Fissure. For Arctic Foxes to try to come back. It's going to be a lot of angles, a lot of damage here from Lars on this far. A lot of pressure will be on Scene here to mitigate as much damage as possible. With no hit scan, it's going to come down to mitigation. And Scene is going to be a big part of that. Mirai coming in on the Tracer, forced to use the recall out. Not able to get a whole lot of damage in quite yet is Frost Fissure. Swampy is going to be taken down. Lars does find Zephy, though. The trades are ongoing on this point. No clear victor as of yet. Retro gets the res onto Swampy as Mirai finds Mira, and there is another kill right there for Frost Fissure. They seem to be settling in control here, but we've seen Amplification Matrix nonetheless from the Arctic Foxes. They're going to invest on this, and Lars just decides that this fight needs to end. Just end the fight, Lars.
Lars has had enough.
Lars decided that is enough, and I am tired of this. No more staggering. You're done. Send you back to point. That was a really good display from the DPS from Frost Fissure.
Absolutely. And I also got to give a little bit of credit to Retro there. Getting that res off on Swampy allowed Frost Fissure to maintain the point presence that they wanted, even if they were down a few members. So Arctic Fox is able to cap 80% of the point here, but it looks like they're coming in for a second fight with a Cassidy now instead of the Symmetra.
Right now, Arctic Fox is setting up here, trying to get a bit of a different look here. Pressure out Lars on that high ground. Mirai with that pulse bomb in hand, though, going to be looking to get in on the Arctic Foxes. You have to imagine here. Looking at ice on this Mei. Really tough to play the Mei against this composition here. You're not really able to get as effective of walls and as effective of poke off onto your opponent as you would like. in
Yeah,
the brawl mirror, perhaps.
I'm assuming they kept it for the ult because he's getting pretty close to it at this point. Arctic Fox is moving on to point to brawl like they were wanting to do on their comp.
Here we go, Swampy in with the proximity mine is going to be enough to take Zephy down. And again, 2 kills early here and a late ultimate investment here from the Arctic Foxes. Icy with that Blizzard, not able to find anything. And that's another dominant fight win for Frost Fissure.
Absolutely. Again, Frost Fissure just playing patient, playing their angles, putting in a bunch of damage and looking really good. It looks like Arctic Foxes are completely changing up their comp other than the Diva Cass at this point and going to a more pokey comp of their own. Kind of a tough choice given they only have a minute and a half left and they're trying to play a more patient comp here. But we'll see whether it works out for them as they give Frost Fissure a little different look.
Trying to mix it up again right now are the Arctic Foxes. Coming out with Icy now trying to match Lars on the Far Mercy here. So we're going to get a little bit of a dogfight now from Lars and Icy. With 2 DPS we talked about at the beginning of this cast, finally getting it on right now. We see the single rocket cannot find the double, but Swampy is going to find Slick. And getting rid of the Ana early here, that's a big source of healing. You lose really just a ton right there. And there's Lars just making sure that the fight is completely won. And Frost Fissure on the back of Lars there is going to continue to hold this point.
Lars is just looking so dominant on this Pharah. He lost his Mercy pocket pretty early on, although there was a trade out with the Ana from the Arctic Foxes. But he said, you know what? I'm going to carry this fight anyways, puts out a good barrage, takes down the enemy Pharah, takes down the enemy Mercy. And now with 24 seconds left, Arctic Foxes are coming in with only a Diva Bomb. So can be a good point clearing ultimate, can be tough to use against a ball comp. So it'll be interesting to see what they're able to do with it.
Definitely, no question about that here. We go to the last fight here, last opportunity for Arctic Foxes, seen with the self-destruct. Going to be a big ultimate to watch here. Mariah with this pulse bomb looking to get in on the Ana. Ana taken very low, gets a sleep onto Swampy to try to stay alive just a little bit longer. We see the point presence now established here from the Arctic Foxes. The scene gets on point, but Mariah is going to find the stick onto Slick. And that is unfortunate for Arctic Foxes. Again, losing their Ana early. Swampy is going to take Zephy out of the equation here. Icy back in, finds Mirai. Fight is far from over here as the early respawns will come in from Frost Fissure here soon. But right now, I'm sorry, for Arctic Fox, pardon me, but it doesn't seem to matter because Frost Fissure is just slowly and methodically finishing this one off.
Yeah, that said, Arctic Foxes do have a lot of sustain now. Mira able to get the res off onto Slick, allowing them to have that healing coming in, and Arctic Foxes has good respawns. So it could be anybody's fight at this point.
Absolutely, no question about it here. Lars now in, finds another kill with Mirai, and that a little bit of a C9, perhaps? Just a little bit late to the party, unfortunately. And that's a great first point hold there for Frost Fissure.
Absolutely. Frost Fissure's defense, again, putting in a ton of damage, looking so clean. Can be really tough towards the end of that first point when the overtime timer just ticks down a little faster than you're maybe expecting for the Arctic Foxes. But fight's not over at this point. They did manage to cap 80.1% of the point, so still anybody's game. But it'll be interesting to see. Frost Fissure coming in on the attack here. I'm guessing that they're probably going to stick with this same sort of divey, pokey ball comp that they've been doing so well at. But it'll be interesting to see what Arctic Foxes decide to do to counter that.
Arctic Foxes right now set up for a tough defense here. They're going to come out on the brawl composition. Frost Fissure not the brawl, the ball composition, the other B. While the Frost Fissure is going to come out now with this ball Sigma comp here. And here we go. It's going to be an exciting one. Arctic Fox is trying to match the ball comp now, trying to mix it up a little bit. For Frost Fissure, this is a big opportunity here to get up 2-0 early in this match.
Definitely. It'll be interesting to see. I wasn't a huge fan of the Arctic Foxes when they were switched over to the ball earlier. But that said, it was also a late switch. It was tough for them to build ultimates. They'll have the benefit here of having the full game time to build those ultimates and do that damage and try to hit Frost Fissure before they're even able to set up their attack.
Swampy right now setting up for an engagement here for Frost Fissure, trying to get through early. They're going to swing through, going to go grab that mega pack, come back on a setup on an off angle here. Icy trying to get rid of some of these high ground advantage that Frost Fissure is seeking out here. Beth, right now, if you're Arctic Foxes, you have to play this so carefully. If you have a kill early, if you lose one early, it could just be game over already.
Absolutely, but that said, Arctic Foxes are playing this really well. Icy already able to take down Retro, and that's half the healing gone for Frost Fissure.
huge right there, taken down for Frost Fissure. We see Slick finds one as well, and that's going to be seen, taking down Swampy too. And Arctic Foxes right now is going to continue to maintain a hold on point A.
Yep. Bit of a trade on picks there at the end. Zeffy gets raised by Mira. But that said, really, really good defense by the Arctic Foxes. They kind of got their enemies split a little bit and were able to take advantage of that, picking off that Brig early and allowing them to hold the point this fight. 3 minutes to go, we see that Arctic Foxes is giving them a little bit of a different look here, or Frost Fissure, excuse me, is giving them a little bit different look here, putting Lars back on that Pharaoh, which we saw him be so dominant on earlier.
Here we go now. Arctic Foxes set up here in set up right now into the high ground position. I'm sorry, with Icy on this high position on this far. Trying to stay up in the skybox and get get a little bit of a higher vantage point here. Zeffy now putting the damage in as well. This fight is still very interesting because 2 minutes already off the clock. We've really only had one fight. It just feels like Frost Fissure is going about this so methodically right now.
They really are, which is, I mean, it's kind of playing to their advantage. Both of these teams are wanting to play really slow, but that said, Mirai gets the res off onto Slick, only to get taken down by Swampy, and Mirai gets the pick onto Zeffy.
Mirai with a huge kill onto Zeffy here. The point is starting to tick up right now for Frost Fissure. We see them, a nano boost go in onto Scene on the Diva. The stick does connect there. We see the self-destruct now from Scene as well on the point. Not able to connect with anything as Scene is dropped. And that's Frost Fissure here taking Hanamura and going up 2-0 on this map.
Yeah, that swap from Lars from the Cassidy over to the Pharah, absolutely great pick. Lars is looking so good on this Pharah right now, and I'm guessing this is probably his, it was either a 3K or a 4K right there at the end to secure them the point, but just really good overall play by Frost Fissure. They're showing absolute dominance on this ball comp tonight.
All right, Frost Fissure right now setting up with an early 2-0 lead over Arctic Foxes. Arctic Foxes gonna have to come out of the break right now and see what they can do to come back. We will be heading to halftime here in just a minute. Be gone for about 10 minutes. Stay tuned. More Tranquility Gaming coming up in just a short while. Welcome back, everybody, here to Transcendence Tier Wednesday in Tranquility Gaming. I'm Mr. Yeti, joined again by Beth. Frost Fissure sitting up 2-0 against Arctic Foxes, and I do need to apologize. I was wrong. It was. I said at the beginning of the cast, Frost Fissure was 2-1. They're actually 1-2. Very sorry for this transgression, but here we are now. Frost Fissure now going to look to move up to 2-2 here against the Arctic Foxes, and they are firmly in control of this match.
Yeah, definitely. Frost Fissure, I haven't watched a lot of their gameplay. I didn't know a whole lot about them before this map, but they are looking just so good and so clean. It looks like Arctic Foxes chose Numbani for their point here. I was going to guarantee they were going to go Kings to try to force the Brawl mirror, but this is going to be a really interesting look for them. It kind of plays into Frost Fissure's favor. I feel like especially point A and B, the dive just tends to do a lot better. What do you think about this choice, Yeti?
You know, I think it's an interesting one. I'm not really sure that that's the play. I feel like this kind of works a little bit into Frost Fissure's favor here. But at the same time, maybe it's a map. It's one of those maps that just does not get a lot of play in scrims, and that is a big thing there. It's just a big thing right there that could be beneficial to Arctic Foxes here, trying to maybe bring out a little bit of a curveball. Because let's face it, if there's any map to not scrim, it's probably Numbani. Because I feel like you rarely ever scrim it.
True, because everybody wants to play Kings or maybe Eichenwald if pressured, but maybe Foxes has been really putting in the hours on this map. Maybe they just feel really comfortable on it. We don't see what Relapse has picked yet, but it looks based on what they've got that they're going to be trying to run a dive attack. Yep, and Relapse goes over to that monkey. So pretty classic Echo dive variant. Frost Fissure, again, back to what they're good at. They've got Lars on that Pharah. They've got Swampy on the ball. If they play this like they played defense on that ball comp in the last couple of maps, it should be a really good show out of them.
It definitely should be here. I'm excited to see what we can get here from this aerial duel from these two teams. So we get the Echo in play versus the Pharah right now, as it looks like they're staging in the low ground here is the Arctic Foxes. Frost Fissure, of course, with this ball composition spread out just all over the place here. And it looks like they are going to swing through here and try to get some early damage. Lars already up, approaching halfway to Barrage here, and that's just kind of been a storyline all night here with Lars and the Pharah.
Yeah, he's just been putting in absolutely massive amounts of damage. Usually I would say that in a Pharah Echo duel, the Pharah has less of an advantage, but that said, Icy doesn't have the pocket, and we see that Arctic Foxes are actually being able to put in a bunch of damage here.
And that's one advantage of this composition. It's really easy to get those targeted dives, especially in the Ana players. And we did see Tutty go down really quick there. Lars trying to bounce back here with the Far Mercy. They do take Icy out of the sky here. The point pressure now is on from the Arctic Foxes as they're continuing to pressure out Scene, trying to do their absolute best to mitigate Lars out of the sky here as much as possible. We see the Nano Boost in play as well here for Relapse. Relapse not able to get a whole lot done, and Frost Fissure right now is starting to creep back into it here. Lars taken very low, trying to sneak out, and they just barely will avoid that rifle shot from Slick there. But Mirai is just absolutely doing work right now in the trenches for Arctic Foxes and gets just another kill. Great work there. I'm sorry, great work there for Mirai for Frost Fissure.
Absolutely. Mirai, Lars, Swampy, all three of them are just looking so good and coordinated on this point. You saw Frost Fissure on that point. They were rotating their touches absolutely perfectly. They allowed 2 ticks to go to the favor of Arctic Foxes, but at the expense of Arctic Foxes losing the fight. Frost Fissure maintains control here as we go into 2-minute warning as we come to the next fight.
Mirai finds a stick onto Mira. Mirai, a backline menace right now for Frost Fissure. Speaking of backline menaces, Lars with that barrage in hand as Icy tries to get on Swampy. Swampy taken very low is going to manage, or not quite manage, pardon me, to get out of that fight. And Swampy is taken down here. Zephy forced to recall out. The Tracer 1v1 is on. Zephy's going to be forced to get out of there and pick up that Mega Pack here. Lars right now still with that barrage in hand, looking for an opportunity to evade the defensive matrix and get in there and use it.
Yeah, even with the loss of the ball early on, Frost Fissure is able to maintain a lot of good point presence here and prevent Arctic Foxes from putting in the damage that they're hoping for. But that said, lots of points going in the favor of the Arctic Foxes here as they invest some ultimates.
Foxes now finally gathering up some momentum here, taking down 3. Retro with the surprising kill onto Zephy, and that's going to be enough here, though. Arctic Fox is going to get control, and the dive continues here as Relapse looks to keep the tempo up for the Arctic Foxes.
Yep, late pick onto Tutty, going to get a long spawn, going to force Frost Fissure even farther back as they're regrouping. We do see that Frost Fissure has switched Lars off of that Pharah onto a Cassidy pick, although Retro is staying on the Mercy here. Additionally, Swampy no longer on the ball. We're seeing a double bubble composition come out of them that we haven't quite seen yet. Lots more damage output, a little bit more brawl potential than the Foxes have now, so it'll be interesting to see whether they can use that to their advantage as Arctic Foxes are getting set up for a bit of a high ground contest here against Frost Fissure.
Here goes Frost Fissure's A-Dog gets in real deep here on the Winston. Worth noting, main tank, off tank, switching roles here with this tank composition for Frost Fissure. We see A-Dog now on the main tank and Swampy switching over to the Zarya. That said, this fight very firmly in control of the Arctic Foxes.
Absolutely, but A-Dog takes a long time to get eliminated there, allowing Frost Fissure to maybe get enough of a regroup that they're able to get last touch here and put in another fight on second point.
Should just barely manage to sneak out here. We see Swampy leading the way on the Zarya, not really getting a whole lot done quite yet. We need to look to try to get some charge up here to try to get some damage done. We see them get in very deep there, couple meters left to the point. Mirai finds relapse here, no main tank now for Arctic Foxes, and we see A-Dog popping the Primal Rage right now, looking to get all over Mira here on that Brigida, sending them absolutely flying here is A-Dog. A-Dog putting in the work on that Primal Rage, and it does look like Frost Fissure is going to manage to hang on here, just barely on point B.
Yeah, Frost Fissure definitely able to play that patiently and get the kills that they needed there. Again, Lars Mirai putting in a lot of work. Lars now going over to the Soldier for more of that high ground contest and a little bit more consistent damage maybe against the Echo of Icy. Both teams not really with a lot of ultimates in the bank. We've seen Mirai building pulse bombs just like crazy. Zephy coming up with a pulse bomb of their own. It's just very good patient play by both teams. They're able to take the fights that they need to. They're able to get the picks that they need to. It's been very back and forth here so far.
Definitely back and forth. Arctic Foxes now looking to continue a so far very successful map here. The Frost Fissure trying to hold up here. Only a minute left. Lars finds the kill onto Icy, but Zephy returns the favor with a kill onto Mirai. Not clear who's going to come out on top, but I think the answer right now is Lars on that high ground, raining down hell with that assault rifle from the top rope. And that is just Lars in control with Frost Fissure, sending Arctic Foxes back. Oh, what a late kill on a Slick as well.
Yeah, and I know we mentioned at the beginning of definitely. I know we mentioned at the beginning of the map, like, oh, Lars, kind of a new pickup for them. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Frost Fissure with him in their backline as the DPS is just looking so absolutely dominant here that, like, Lars is just absolutely carrying the team along with Mirai at some points.
Definitely seems to be the DPS duo for Frost Fissure, looking fantastic so far. That is right now an early kill there onto Slick from A-Dog. Frost Fissure right now in control with 2 down. Icy is going to pop off here on that duplication here, and Scene is going to get the bomb onto point here, taking down A-Dog. Overtime clock now ticking. And it just looks like Frost Fissure right now is just in too much control, and that is going to be a point B hold here, more than likely for Frost Fissure. The trickles are coming in, Beth, and not really any deaths quite yet, so it really still could go any possible direction here as Frost Fissure is starting to get back, Arctic Fox is starting to get some players back in. Retro is taken down here, but Mirai finds 2 of the Arctic Foxes, sending them back to the den here, and that is a point B hold for Frost Fissure.
Yeah, Arctic Foxes is looking really good with their late stagger fights. They're really able to contest there at the end in overtime, but unfortunately just not enough to push it in all the way. Gotta really hand it to Frost Fissure here. They're forcing Arctic Foxes really to play their game. After map 1 and a little bit of map 2, I was saying Arctic Foxes maybe a little bit more comfortable on the brawl, but they're just not able to play that comp because of what Frost Fissure is doing here. Really got to hand it to, like we've been mentioning all night, the DPS duo, but Swampy on that tank, both playing main tank with the Wrecking Ball and some off tank with the Zarya here, just absolutely holding the line for Frost Fissure. Again, swapping, this is a very watched a lot of CS. This is a very CT-sided map, so the defense could very well hold it here on first. We've definitely seen multiple full holds here before.
Sure.
Arctic Foxes are going to a dive comp, pretty classic, again with that Echo, into Frost Fissure, who's sticking with the double bubble they ended on last map.
Frost Fissure right now back on the double bubble, and again, that is just a flavor of Overwatch we do not really see anymore, really at all. We have double bubble has been out of favor for a while now, and Zarya hasn't seen meta play since Goats. So I mean, we are now in a very, very perhaps unexplored territory here, seeing Frost Fissure pulling this one out. But here we go, nonetheless, Frost Fissure, and instead of going, we will just pause.
Oh, looks like Arctic Foxes had a DC there.
That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate because the clock is ticking, and they're going to be a little late to the point.
Sorry,
The
the game's paused.
Well, right, but there was 1 second left on the door.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're going to be a few seconds behind, I suppose.
So
but
we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'm
Yep.
overthinking it. You never know. I am gold, so I got to give myself a little bit of grace here.
I'm plat, so not much better. But
Exactly.
I do really like that we are seeing some double bubble out of Frost Fissure. Like you said, not a very commonly seen comp. It can be tough to play into a comp that you don't see very often. If you're not scrimming a team that plays double bubble very often, it can be a tough thing to deal with. And I think we saw that from the Arctic Foxes at the end of last point. I absolutely adore double bubble. I think it's a really fun comp. So maybe
it gives you a chance to play Zarya.
It gives me a chance to play something different, you know,
Exactly,
a little bit of off-tank bias there, but
that's fair. I can respect it. Taking a look again around right now, I did misspeak earlier. Devil Dukes did take a 4-0 over Oath. Amnesia 4-0 over Lijiang Legion. Decapitators continuing the 4-0 trend over Culture, and the 4-0 for Reckless Sigma over Palm Beach Poggers. But we are back in, actually, pardon me, as we get into the next round here for Frost Fissure. A-Dog heading up to the high ground early, trading some barbs with Relapse here. They both are electrocuting each other up just a little bit, just a little tickle here and there. And Arctic Foxes right now trying to find a way to hold on here, trying to extend it back so you get that beep reverse sweep action and energy going.
yeah, definitely. Frost Fissure just putting in some soft dives here, trying to get their Zarya some charge so she can walk in and brawl. Looks like they are starting to make their attack here, though.
Here we go now. Next fight here. Zephy coming in here onto Mirai, gonna take them down, and that's an early kill, early advantage now for the Arctic Foxes. Focusing beam there, invested, not able to connect with anything. The A-Dog right now getting to work here in the back line, but with 2 of their team dead, they're still just trying to get out right now, and they do manage to do so. So Arctic Foxes with an early hold.
Yep, and Frost Fissure probably looking to build Nano here. Teddy is 79% to his ult at this point. Arctic Foxes already have that up, along with a Zephy Pulse Bomb. Zephy's able to land a good pulse here. This fight could be over before it even starts.
And Zephy, with that Pulse Bomb here, going to look to get in there. See the stun in onto Scene. Scene able to get them back in. We see Zephy Pulse Bomb finds Retro there. Losing your Brigida early on in the fight means it's just time to reset if you're Frost Fissure.
Definitely. Kind of an interesting choice by Slick there to nano the Diva. But that said, it did get Scene all the way up to his ultimate at this point, so he will have that going into this fight. That said, Frost Fissure is coming up on, or they have a nano of their own. They've got a High Noon. They've actually got a lot of ults coming online, so if they use those to their advantage, this could be a point take for them.
Right now, Frost Fissure has an opportunity to get in here, to get that cart moving here. 2 minutes left on the clock. We see Frost Fissure getting in early with the nano boost onto A-Dog, and that's going to be enough chaos cause for Frost Fissure to absolutely roll over the Arctic Foxes there on that high ground. So really just one ult invested, and that's all it took.
I was going to say, I know I said, like, oh, they've got a lot of ults coming up. I hope they use all of them to their advantage, and like you said, Tutty just needed to nano A-Dog, and that combo was enough to take Arctic Foxes down and send them back to spawn. Looks like most of them did get close spawns here, though, so we should get a couple of fights coming up onto point B.
That point B opportunity here, and the match in hand now for Frost Fissure with 4, give it 5 ultimates. We see Arctic Fox with 4 of their own, with 2 on the come here for sure. The Gravitic Flux, I'm sorry, that's a Graviton Surge invested, pardon me, from Swampy on that high ground, not able to get any success off of it is Frost Fissure, but we see the now self-destruct in from Scene, not able to connect with anything, but the Nano Boost now in onto Relapse as well. Relapse trying to get onto Frost Fissure here, but they're held back by that pillar, so they just pop the Primal Rage instead and decide to go this route, and it's just sufficient enough as they put Swampy into a corner, and right now it seems like they do absolutely put Swampy into a corner, and that's going to be enough for Arctic Fox to take control here.
Yep, tough luck for Frost Fissure. They were so close to getting that Nano Pulse Bomb pulled off right at the beginning there, but Relapse on that Monkey just doing such good work, getting the picks he needed, getting the space that his team needed in order to win that fight. That said, Frost Fissure is getting some push onto Payload now as they're looking to brawl into here as we approach the middle of Point B. Ooh, that is a huge stick by Mirai on Relapse. He goes into Zeffy.
What a huge stick on the Mirai there, or from Mirai. That is just all it's going to really take here. The only thing that was really necessary. And for Frost Fissure, a statement made on Numbani. They take this point. They'll take the match as we head to a map 4 where Arctic Foxes tries to mitigate some of that map differential.
Yeah, Frost Fissure, again, I'm guessing this is the Mirai stick at the end, but Frost Fissure is just looking so clean and so good. They're really loving these pokey, divey sort of comps, and that's just, Arctic Foxes haven't been able to match them yet. But like you said, coming into a map 4 here, we do have one more map to play. Map differential does definitely matter, especially since we're getting this close to stage B. Right. But that said, if you're Arctic Foxes, you've got to take a second to regroup and think, is there something else that we could be doing, some other comp we could be running to match into Frost Fissure at this point? Mm-hmm. Frost Fissure has just been looking super dominant, and I kind of wonder what Arctic Foxes are planning to do here. Again, we've mentioned their DPS being super strong, so do you go a comp that focuses those DPS? Do you go for a comp that just takes the team out around the DPS? Or I don't even know what I would choose to do in this situation if I were them.
I mean, if you're Arctic Foxes, you got to mix it up. It's just not working right now. Take the opportunity to perhaps work on some different compositions here, or try to at least get a point back. You really got to take advantage of the opportunity here. We're coming into a situation in this stage where you don't really want to end up any lower than 500, because the lower down you get, the closer to that line for the elimination pool you creep to. And Arctic Foxes, despite going to 2-2, they will be tied with a lot of teams around 2-2 going into the next round here. Krabby Crabbers just fell as well. They're going to be 1-3 after their loss here just now. Billings Boomers get the forfeit, so they're up. They got to 2-2. They're up to 2-2 now. Reckless Sigma up to 2-2. They're just kind of creeping right along that line for an elimination pool. So if you're Arctic Foxes, every map counts right now.
Definitely. And a trans, that kind of middle of the pack, is just going to be an absolute bloodbath the next few weeks. And it's going to be so much fun to watch and see where these teams shake out.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun here. We do have, again, one more week of Overwatch 1 action here in Tranquility. So we are very excited about that. You got to stay tuned to catch everything coming up here in the coming week. But tomorrow we have 2 fantastic matches as well. The Discord Tier EU feature match, Paid to Win, taking on Cam. And in NA, you have Ragnarok Loki taking on Chicago Deep Dish in a match of undefeated teams. That is going to be a fantastic one to wrap up your week 4. You will not want to miss that matchup. Could be one of the best you see. Could be one of the last great matches we see in Overwatch 1 here in Tranquility Gaming.
Definitely. Don't want to miss it. Definitely want to tune in for those. But also remember, guys, week after that is going to be event week. One of the most fun weeks in the Tranquility community. Definitely a favorite. Not only do we get to play some really cool game modes, crown champions of 1v1 tournaments, things like that. But we're also going to use it to raise money for a really good cause. So hope to see a lot of you guys there. If you haven't signed up yet, or you're not sure if you've signed up yet, chat with your GMs. Right. They're the ones who are responsible for getting the team signed up. So if you want to play, make sure you're on them to get you guys all signed up for this.
We have some awesome giveaways coming up during this as well. For all the event winners, they will be entered into a drawing for a $50 Amazon gift card, and we will have 4 additional $50 Amazon gift cards that we'll be giving away at the end of event week next week. So you're going to want to tune in, and ideally you're going to want to participate so you have a shot at taking home some prizing as well in those upcoming matchups. As again, 9 on the 30th, that is next Friday, we start the week, which is weird. This is different. We start the week with the staff pug. So if you want to come after myself and Beth during some Overwatch 1 action, that's your opportunity to come at us. And it's going to be, again, an awesome time. We're going to raise a lot of money for charity. We will be, again, raising money for Rise Above the Disorder next week. That will be, again, they are a fantastic organization. They work to provide mental health resources for young adults specifically, big time focus in gamer culture as well, but they provide mental health resources and free mental health care to those who need it and cannot afford it through other avenues. So it is a fantastic group, and we are excited to continue to work with them. We've raised so much money for them, nearly $20,000 over the past few seasons, guys, and we are looking forward to, again, contributing to their amazing cause. We're hoping you can help us out starting next week. So we're gonna have a lot of fun, but we still have one more match here tonight. Frost Fissure, again, 3-0 over Arctic Foxes, in control, gonna take the W, looking to see if they can finish off the big sweep of Arctic Foxes.
And Arctic Foxes coming out on a little bit of a different look here. We've got Scene on the Roadhog and Zeffy and Icy on double sniper. I know I'm not supposed to read Twitch chat during casts, but I did see Icy in chat saying end goal isn't to win the match, end goal is to win the tournament. So I'm wondering if that's what they're doing here, playing into a map that's maybe a little bit more of Frost Fissure's strength, and just working on their comps and working on playing against somebody that they're hoping to run into in playoffs again. I love a sniper duel, so I'm really excited to see Zeffy versus Mirai here.
Having a season 5 Holy Jalapeno flashback there is Beth. But here we go. Here we go. Arctic Foxes now coming out with Zeffy on the Widowmaker. So a little bit of a different look. We see Scene now switching over to the Roadhog as well. So we see Arctic Foxes pulling out something very different. The Hog and the Ball. Perhaps a torturous composition in play from the Arctic Foxes. But Scene gets the pick onto Mac right there. Mac taken down from Frost Fissure. Mac subbing in for Lars. Lars taking a break. You know, Lars earned it today.
Definitely. Excited to see what Mac is going to do here. I feel like this might be their first map in, so I'm really looking to see what they're going to do. Slick taking down Mirai, though, and that's going to be a huge pick for the Foxes.
The Foxes right now seeing Mirai out of the equation. That's going to be a good opportunity for Relapse to push up here on the Wrecking Ball. Zeffy just lobbing bullets off towards Retro. Had a little bit of trouble connecting with the head, but it didn't matter. They got the job done here, and Arctic Foxes is going to be pushing through point A with Icy picking up a few kills to wrap that one up.
Yep, Icy looking really good on that, Hanzo. I love Retro's decision to just be like, shoot me, Widow, I dare you. And just stand wide out in the open there and try to get the res off. But that said, a bit of a contest coming in here by Swampy at the end, but in the end, it's not going to matter. Arctic Foxes pushing it to the end of point A with 5 minutes on the clock as they're going into the beginning of point B here.
Point B now for the Arctic Foxes here, trying to get that last point out here, make it a 3-1 instead of a 4-0. Relapse does dive in, and, well, it didn't go ideally. But Zeffy finds... Zeffy with a second one, taking out the support line on his own. And that's great work there from Zeffy.
Definitely. Zeffy just pretty much handing that fight to the Arctic Foxes. To Frost... Oh, now I'm getting mixed up. To Arctic Foxes, excuse me. Really tough if you're Frost Fissure to get any sort of progress without your supports. So Frost Fissure going back to spawn, trying to get some reset here as Arctic Foxes continue to push the point.
Arctic Foxes now with some push going on here, roughly midway through point B here in the streets phase. They are about 4 minutes on the clock as well. So very, very strong positioning for the Arctic Foxes, pushing through here, and Zeffy finds another kill, taking Mac down as well. That is another huge pickoff for Zeffy, finding another pick on the Widowmaker. Zeffy has just been an absolute menace here as Bob makes an appearance.
Definitely. Zeffy getting that pick onto Mac is going to be huge, but Mac got the pick onto Slick early, which not only takes out Slick's healing, but also his Transcendence ultimate there. We see Mirai's getting a pick off onto Scene here as Frost Fissure looks to make a little bit of a comeback.
Frost Fissure now has the opportunity in this fight here. Icy getting into a brawl with a robot, and that did not go well for Icy, as you would expect. But that is going to be a fight win here for Frost Fissure, as they will stabilize in the streets. But they do lose Swampy here, and it looks like Arctic Foxes are just going to start pushing immediately.
Yeah, Swampy should get back quickly, but Arctic Foxes look like they're going to try to push their advantage, push a little bit more point presence that they have here. But A-Dog coming up with a big gravitic flex here, doesn't find anybody as the trance is popped by Slick.
And a big lift there, completely negated by Slick, and we see the rally now as well. Mira pops her rally off there, and right now Swampy taken again very low after popping the proximity mines on point. Slick is going to take down Tutty, and there goes Mirai as well, as Ice finds yet another one there. Another big set of picks for Icy there. A-Dog swinging in, trying to get some work done there. They take Scene out, but right now it just seems like just the death throes here for Frost Fissure, as it looks like Arctic Foxes are going to take this point.
Absolutely loving seeing this really scrappy play out of Arctic Foxes. You know, they've got their tanks in the front line really causing a lot of disruption, allowing Zeffy and Icy to just put on a clinic on how to run this double sniper in the back line. Really great mechanics on show here as we come into point third.
Icy looking really good, just taken down by Swampy early on here. But nonetheless, the cart is continuing to move. Frost Fissure right now setting up on the high ground with Pulse Bomb in hand is Mac. Swampy's going to spin through, going to pop that pile driver, and is going to get popped by Scene. And that is a couple of nice kills there. But Mira is taken down. She eats a Pulse Bomb there. And Zeffy with another pick. Zeffy, the double. Oh, hello. Whoa. All right, Relapse, I see you. Clearly getting a little upset about too many compliments about the ball from Swampy tonight. Relapse decides to take matters into his own hands.
Yeah, beautiful mind placement by Relapse, allowing that those picks to happen and for the fight to swing in the favor of Arctic Foxes. Zeffy again with a headshot onto Mirai here. Just absolutely a huge threat on this Widowmaker here as they round the corner into the end of point C, and definitely knows the Ana is there. He's waiting for her.
Tutty tempting fate quite a bit there. And we get yet another pause on the map, as it looks we might have lost another player there, Beth. Arctic Foxes, they've struggled a little bit tonight, but we are really seeing signs of life from them pushing through on this point, and they're finally looking like that team that we saw really pushing Frost Fissure on that first map. This is definitely the closest, or definitely the most convincing we've seen Arctic Foxes so far tonight.
Definitely. And you really, I mean, if you're an Arctic Foxes fan, you really just have to praise their resilience here. Like when you get down 3-0, and especially when some of the maps are not as close as you'd like them to be, it can be really easy to just go, you know what, guys, the game's over. We're phoning it in. Like, just play whatever and do whatever. The game is over. But Arctic Foxes, even though they're running out on a hog and ball comp, which is not exactly what people tend to run on this, they're making it work. They're playing more coordinated and some better Overwatch than we've seen. But it looks like we're getting back into the game here.
We are back in the game now. Mirai switching over to the Genji. So a different look now from Frost Fissure with Mirai on the Genji. We see another lift in from A-Dog, gonna put Scene up into the air. Scene gonna use the whole hog, but that is just not the time or the place, it seems. And Frost Fissure is gonna take 3 early on. They're gonna dive in on Zeffy as well. Zeffy is dropped by Frost Fissure there, and 2 minutes on the clock. Frost Fissure is now in control.
Yeah, Frost Fissure held that really well. We see that Mirai has now swapped over to the Genji, which is another threat onto the Zen in the backline. Slick's trance was unfortunately just like a half a second too late to save the Roadhog, which gave Frost Fissure the opening pick they needed to hold the point there. That said, Arctic Foxes coming up on both DPS ults. They pop sites early to try to get a beat on where Frost Fissure is setting up as we're coming into the fight at the end of point C.
Here we go now. Arctic Foxes pushing in, trying to get this fight. They have the win, but they have the Inference rights in play from Zeffy, but Zeffy's being zoned out right now by Mac on the Tracer here. Ball swings in, big mind, big pile driver as well from Swampy. They're going to be forced out, but they will get out successfully after really causing some disruption. Dragon Strike now in from Icy, going to find Mirai. He can't deflect dragons, and that is unfortunate for Mirai. They're taken down in that fight. They're looking for that Ana right now is Icy, not able to find them, but Mac right now on the Tracer has Pulse Bomb in hand. Going to be looking to get that Pulse Bomb in, looking to get back. They do throw the Pulse Bomb out, not able to connect with anybody on that one, but Zeffy is still just lobbing the lead down the aisle here, and Zeffy finds yet another kill onto Tuddy. The kills are trading right now, and trades will slowly but surely work out in the favor of Frost Fissure, Beth.
Yep, Frost Fissure has slightly closer respawns. They were able to get a little bit more damage off here. It looks like Icy might be stuck in the back line here on the flank. It doesn't look like Frost Fissure has actually noticed they're back there, unless that's where Swampy is on their way at this point, and it looks like it is. Unfortunately, late pick for them. Coming into last fight here, 24 seconds left on the clock. Frost Fissure does have a blade. It would be a naked blade since Tuddy hasn't gotten their nano up yet, but that could be a huge ultimate for Frost Fissure here.
Here we go now, Frost Fissure trying to continue the hold here. 8 seconds left. Mines now on the point from Relapse. They will be mostly negated out here by Frost Fissure. Mac going in, pops the recall to get back, stay afloat. Retro is going to be taken down though, and Icy now in on the Doomfist. No supports now for Frost Fissure, so Frost Fissure not able to heal up here from this damage coming in from the Arctic Foxes. We see Whole Hog on point. Whole Hog on point from Scene as well, and that is going to clear the path and clear the road there for Arctic Foxes, and that is a full pull on Junkertown.
Definitely. Arctic Foxes says, we're not going down without a fight. We're going to show you what we can do, and they definitely did there. Loved watching the DPS play from Zeffy and Icy. That entire point, like I said, we saw Zeffy getting headshot after headshot in the kill feed, Icy putting in massive amounts of damage. And honestly, like the switch to the Doomfist Cassidy at the end there, I think just put Frost Fissure on their back foot just enough to allow Arctic Foxes to get that overtime push in. So definitely anybody's map at this point, even if it's no longer anybody's game. So we'll see whether Frost Fissure sticks again with the ball that they were running last point, or whether they decide to go with something different here. But it looks like they're, Ball Sigma, Tracer Widow. Looks like we're potentially getting a Widow duel. I don't know if Icy is just messing with me. I feel like they tend to mess with the casters when they go Bastion.
I tend to agree with you, but they have left spawn. It looks like. I don't know if we can verify that here. Production. I'm not sure if they have. Yes, Icy has left spawn. The Bastion is in. Are they creeping up? Are we getting?
We're getting a close hold with a Bastion Hog
and a Widowmaker. I've seen creative before. I've watched the Chengdu Hunters. But this is a new level of creativity that we're seeing right now from Frost.
And maybe it's the creativity that they need to win this point. They're giving it everything that they've got. That's for sure.
I mean, I respect the cojones right now that we're seeing from Arctic Foxes coming out with something a lot different. I don't know if Icy's just in chat, just like let me play Bastion, bro. Just one match on Bastion, bro. Please let me play Bastion. But Mac just decides to just ignore the Bastion and go kill Zeffy instead.
Yep, and that takes away a lot of math pressure from Arctic Foxes without that. It looks like Zeffy swapped from the Widow over to the Cassidy, maybe to brawl a little bit more with the Rhine Hog duo. Icy's still up on this Bastion, able to put in a lot of damage here. Frost Fissure not able to get any movement on the cart yet.
The Scene is taken down there by Tuddy. The patient approach from Frost Fissure is working here. Relapse on the cart, trying to stay alive just a little bit longer. And Icy, the lone Bastion, is just fodder.
Yeah, well, Arctic Foxes did what they set out to do. They burned some time off the clock, made Frost Fissure adapt to what they were running. Icy is staying on that Bastion here, though, as Swampy gets a late pick onto Zeffy.
That's a very late pick onto Zeffy here. That's a great now opportunity for Frost Fissure to really push their advantage. We see A-Dog and Swampy already pressed up here to make the engagement difficult and that's just Icy taken down super early there for the Foxes. Icy, again, playing this Bastion. Perhaps a little too much cheek from Icy on this one. Not really working in their favor, it seems, as Frost Fissure is going to continue the relentless assault right now on point A.
Yep, gotta hand it to Frost Fissure there. They knew that Icy on the Bastion was going to be the biggest threat in terms of damage output. They focused him first, took him down, Tuddy getting the final blow there. As we're coming in to point B now, 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, pretty close to what Arctic Foxes had during their attack here. Tutty does have the nano up. Kind of a variety of targets they could choose to use it on here, with A-Dog coming in with the graphitic flux as well, without the Zen counter that they saw on last map, or last half.
No Zen counter here is going to make that a lot more challenging, but here we go now. High ground taken by Frost Fissure here. Tutty with the nano boost in hand, throws the grenade, not able to connect with anything to get the biotic grenade out onto their opponents. A-Dog right now is going to pop a Gravitic Flux here early. They are just looking for a Baptiste, and they are just going to find a Baptiste, as Slick is going to be dropped. Icy going into tank mode and trying to get any kills they can out this, and they just didn't. But Scene, on the other hand, is going to finish off Retro here. Perhaps the Bastion experiment might end here fairly quick for the Foxes. Icy's still staying on that, though, after that tough little first point home.
Yeah, I mean, why would you switch off the Bastion at this point? It's obviously working, guys. Come on.
I feel like that's what people tell me in ranked games. I feel like that's what I get told in ranked games. Like, at a certain point, the Bastion is just like, all right, okay, cool. All right, we'll keep trying it, I guess. You know. Yeah.
It hasn't failed miserably anyways, but no. Honestly, Icy's putting in a lot of damage here, really opening up the field, allowing Zeffy to get some picks too. As Frost Fissure is coming in for another fight, 3 minutes and 12 seconds left. Scene looking for a hook, unfortunately misses.
Scene not able to get any pressure or get that hook onto Frost Fissure there. We see the window, the application matrix now from Slick is going to cause Frost Fissure to hold up for just a little bit in the street space. We see Scene having a stroke or something. I'm not really sure what happened there, but here we go. Scene, nonetheless, is going to use the whole hog. We see the lift from Relapse as well, but Relapse is stunned out of that lift there. Not sure by who. Did not catch who did that. Mirai does get the kill with the Deadeye, though, onto Icy. And here goes Frost Fissure now, pushing this cart and nearly to point B.
Yep, Arctic Fox is able to burn a little bit more time off the clock. They use the window for some space and some time, and then they use the whole hog for some space and then some time. But now it looks like well, I don't know what Arctic Foxes is doing. They went to like Ryan Winston for a second. Now they're back on the Ryan Hog, and staying on this Bastion. From the side of Frost Fissure, we do see that Mac has a pulse bomb off. He's been able to get off a couple of really good pulse bombs this match. So be interesting to see whether he decides to go for the Bastion or for maybe a little bit less of a high value target, or a high damage output target, I should say.
Really close to tank mode, bro. Let me stay Bastion, bro, okay? It's literally my right game right now. You know what? Hey, you know what? It's working at times. I can't criticize that much. It's just funny. Here we go now. Another Gravitic Flux in from A-Dog. Going to put a couple into the air. Immortality Field invested to mitigate the damage there. Mac is going to get the kill onto Icy. Icy dropped yet again with the tank ultimate in hand. We see a kill being traded right now, though, with Relapse getting the pick. Both Cassidy's stunning each other out on the cart. Zeffy is going to come out on top in that duel here, as Mirai sent back to the spawn room, and that's Frost Fissure going to be sent back to the spawn room here.
Yeah, and if you're Frost Fissure, I don't hate that trade. You sent your Tracer in to get the pick off onto the Bastion, which they gave their life for, but now as I say that, things are swinging back towards Arctic Fox's favor, so...
Here we go again. Arctic Foxes getting back, getting control of the cart here. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on this point, so this fight is going to end and end soon. So we are in this match is going to end and end soon. But Frost Fissure right now got a little bit more work to do. Probably gonna have to win 2 solid fights at this point. So if you're Arctic Foxes, you gotta be feeling really good.
Definitely, Arctic Foxes are in a really good position here. We see Icy pop the tank ultimate as Roadhog was brought extremely low there.
Roadhog very low. Proximity mines now in from Swampy as well. Zeffy pops the Deadeye, not able to get the shot off before they're taken down by A-Dog. Mariah has the Deadeye of their own, looking for a shot to get at them here. They're going to pop the ultimate there, going to take Slick down. And Slick now being out as Frost Fissure continues the relentless assault here. Icy on the Bastion is forced to fall back, not really able to do a whole lot. And we see right now with that cart very quickly approaching here, we see the lift now being used. Where the ball swings in here as seen on the Wrecking Ball, now the last hope on the point for Arctic Foxes. They're going to get in. They find Mac and Mirai right now, so both DPS taken down for Frost Fissure. Swampy going to be negated out here by the whole hog from Relapse. Brigida and Sigma, the only hope left on the point, and that's going to be taken down here. And Arctic Foxes are just going to continue to hold with a minute left.
Yep, Arctic Foxes again having that really scrappy sort of stall fight play, and at the end of third point, that's exactly what you're looking for. They're able to get a couple of staggered picks, they're able to get their respawns back a little bit faster, and Frost Fissure now has only a minute left to cap without any ultimates in the pocket right now. They are coming up on a couple of DPS ults. Oh, Mac taken very low there. Arctic Foxes, though, with the rally that could mitigate all of it.
Arctic Foxes now has the ability to close this one out here, take a map kill, or take a map point, but with 3 ultimates in hand for Frost Fissure. They're looking to end this one here, end it in overtime. Frost Fissure now trying to get in position. Same with Arctic Foxes. Arctic Foxes with a firm hold on that high ground. Mac with the pulse bomb is gonna die with the pulse bomb as Relapse shoots him right in the head with that strap gun there. And that's gonna be another kill onto A-Dog, who gets hooked in. Mirai finds 2 though on this Cassidy. With the kills being traded, will slowly but surely continue to favor the defenders here with quick respawns. AC on Doomfist looking to get in and do some work and brawl here with Frost Fissure. Deadeye now invested from Zephy, gonna take Mac down. Icy looking to, again, pick off more, tries to get the punch in, looking to punch in on the Doomfist, not able to do so. Icy, though, with cooldowns in hand, plus the ultimate, they'll look to use the ultimate here as the kills continue to be traded out. Icy going deep, not able to finish off Mirai, who is very low. We see the sound barrier now invested from Slick as Frost Fissure trying to find a way to get the sweep here. Arctic Foxes defending off that sweep. Mirai finds 2 though, and Frost Fissure trying to get back in this and force the tie, force some overtime Overwatch, and they will continue to push that card here. 4 minutes, or 4 meters to go. The late push in from Ice, and boom, there we go. And that is some overtime Overwatch coming your way here on Junkertown.
So excited. Going to extra innings on this map. Really good showing by the Arctic Foxes there. Even though Frost Fissure was able to push it all the way in, we saw Arctic Foxes. There's too many F's in this game. Arctic Foxes really just play with a lot of ingenuity and creativity and scrappiness. Again, they ran Bastion almost that entire game, and it was working for them. So Arctic Foxes definitely not going down without a fight. Frost Fissure looking to hopefully, or try to seal away their 4-0 victory here. Wondering whether Arctic Foxes is going to go for the Bastion Reinhardt close hold again, and it looks like they're going for they're really leaning into it. They're going for a Bastion double shield hold here. Icy saying, you know what, the Bastion, it was working. We got a lot of damage
bro.
out.
Let me play Bastion. They won't expect it. Let me play Bastion, bro.
Certainly no one ever expects you to play Bastion twice.
Exactly. Who would play Bastion twice, especially after getting full pulled? Well, we've just answered that. That's Icy. Icy would do that. Icy is going to go ahead and pull the Bastion out here. So a very exciting day in the Transcendence tier. Lots of matches in the books here. Worth noting, a couple more match scores came in. 3-1 Classified over the Krabby Crabbers. Classified now moving up to a record of 3-1. So a very strong stage 1 for Classified here. And here we go now. Icy on the Bastion. We'll see how it goes. You know, they're on attack right now. We get the pirate ship going here. Cue your Pirates of the Caribbean theme song, everybody. You should have it at the ready at all times for Tranquility gaming matches, especially here on Junkertown. Mac on the Pharah, so we're seeing some flip up here on what people are playing. Rez comes in, Retro able to get the Rez onto Mac right in front of the Bastion, as you would expect. Here we go now. Zephy taken very low, is going to keep trying to pressure the Sigma. They will kill the Sigma there as A-Dog is taken down. Pressure right now from this Bastion is too great for Frost Fissure, and they're forced back as Swampy is taken down right now as Icy plants himself firmly on that cart. And this is a great opportunity now for Arctic Foxes to start to really get some push.
Yeah, really good pick by Slick there onto the Mercy, leaving the Pharah without their pocket. Pharah able to trade back onto the Ana. The Pharah could end up working out here for them if they get a last touch here. They are, they're in the respawns now. But that said, keeping the Pharah here I think is a good idea for Frost Fissure. They're able to get a little bit of a different angle. Bastion does best when all of his enemies are sitting right in front of him. So I still think that Frost Fissure has a chance here if they're able to hold it out.
Frost Fissure right now firmly in control of their own destiny, it would seem here, with regards to whether or not they can get back in this matchup. They have a lot of ultimates in the bank here. Amplification Matrix now in. Icy posting up on that low ground here. Going to get rid of that shield. Do a little favor for the team, but not really able to get any sort of damage being done here. Mac with the barrage in hand. You got to figure it's going to go get used right now, but it doesn't need to, actually. Few kills come in quickly for Frost Fissure, and that's going to be it here on point B, but great push for a 1 minute push.
Honestly, very, very good push for a 1 minute push. They were able to take point A pretty convincingly and then make their way into point B. That said, still anybody's game. We've got to see what Frost Fissure now does on the attack and whether Arctic Foxes decides to stick with the Bastion again, which, I mean, if you're Arctic Foxes, maybe you do. Like I said, it's been working.
It's working really well for Arctic Foxes. They have an opportunity here. 1 minute, benefit is if you're Frost Fissure, at least you have, you know what you have to beat. So there's no mystery for them. They know how far they have to push this cart. So I'll be curious to see what they come out with. It looks like they're going the double shield route. Arctic Foxes is going to come out with the Sigma, and that's a Roadhog coming out of spawn there. So we see the Roadhog back in play with some funny comp from Arctic Foxes. Icy trading out the Bastion for the Widowmaker. A little bit more traditional for this map.
I mean, a little bit more traditional, but we also still have a Sig Hog Mercy Ana.
True.
It's kind of still a really weird look we're seeing from Arctic Foxes. Could Frost Fissure not expect it and be a little bit caught on their back foot? Absolutely. But double sniper into double shield is a really tough matchup, so Arctic Foxes may find themselves at a little bit of a disadvantage here.
Here we go now. Icy looking to do the work needed on this Widowmaker to close it out for Foxes and steal a point from this matchup. Frost Fissure right now is still going for that sweep. They have a big opportunity to do so here with this push onto point B of Jumpertown. We see a big Biotic Grenade come through from Slick, but no follow-up, being able to come in there for the Foxes. And Frost Fissure right now is continuing to pressure back the Foxes, who are just slowly but surely relenting to this aggression right now from Frost Fissure.
Yeah, that was a huge pick from Mac onto Slick there. Arctic Fox is now without half their healing, but Zephy trades back onto A-Dog. Still could be anybody's game at this point, but it looks like Icy might clean up on Mac, and it may be sending Frost Fissure back. Oh, the 5 seconds left.
Here we go right now, 5 seconds left. We see, the Infras Rights come in from Icy there. Icy finds the kill onto Swampy. Ball swinging in here is A-Dog, but the kills right now are all going in the Fox's favor as they try to get a point out of this one. Zephy finds a 4th kill there. Zephy with a 5th. Zephy looking for a 6K, but relapse with the selfish play. But that being said, if you're Arctic Foxes, you walk out of here with you walk out of here with that map. But for Frost Fissure, they will take this match 3-1.
Yeah, Arctic Foxes again pulling it back there at the end, using a lot of ingenuity and a lot of just grit and determination to pull that final map out. Excellent game all around. Honestly, it was just really good Overwatch. It was a close 3-1, and I'm just sitting here happy that this is my first game that I've casted that wasn't a 4-0. Just a very very good close game to watch. Lots of fun. So definitely a good match.
We have casted a lot of 4 Overwatch this season so far, you and I. It is nice to have a lot more of a competitive match. And you know what? Arctic Foxes, that first map was really anybody's fight. It came down to the last fight, 99-99, 1-1. If they win that fight, we're looking at overtime right here, going to a 5th map. Really 2 pretty evenly matched teams.
Definitely. It'll be interesting to see what both of these teams do moving forward. Both of them now are 50%, I believe. They're both 2-2 on their records. So, again, Transcendence Tier NA, the middle of the pack is just going to be an absolute mess, and I am so excited to see what happens next week with our games. But really got to hand it to both of these teams. Honestly, both of them looked so good and so clean throughout the match. So, just some excellent Overwatch to watch.
Yeah, both teams played fantastic tonight, Beth. I have to ask, though, any one specific player stand out to you the most tonight?
Oh, there's a couple of really obvious ones that I'm trying to decide whether I go for them.
So sometimes the obvious answer is the best answer.
True, but you know me, I also am like a big underdog person. I'm like, I want to pick somebody who's nobody's talking about. But
That's true.
I mean, with how dominant Lars was basically the entirety of the first 3 maps, it's hard to pick anybody else for me. Like, every time that player was on Pharah, they just absolutely destroyed everyone in their path, it seemed like. Really solid DPS output, lots of really good plays. Gonna have to hand it to Lars there.
Lars looked fantastic. Mirai as well. Frost Fissure, as their GM said, Frost Fissure now at full strength. Bringing in Lars here, so it will be very interesting to see where Frost Fissure goes. They have the opportunity to go up against a very tough, or they have a very challenging opponent next week, potentially in Lijiang Legion, who has looked strong at times so far this season. Arctic Fox is taking on Oath. So both teams have opportunities to go 3-2 next week and really lock their space in some of those higher groups going into going into stage 2. Once again, guys, we have 2 great productions tomorrow. Be sure to tune in for the EU feature match at 3 o'clock Eastern time. That's 9 p.m. CET. That is Paid to Win taking on Cam. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, you'll have Ragnarok Loki taking on Chicago Deep Dish. So you're not going to want to miss either of those, guys. Make sure, again, one of the best ways to support us is throw us a follow. Make sure you throw a follow, turn those notifications on, and tune in the future. We certainly appreciate you supporting us so far this season. Thank you again to Laggy for the fantastic work on production, as always. And again, Beth, thank you very much as well for your analysis tonight. I am Mr. Yeti. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you again soon.